Rachel, go ahead.
Hi, Senator. In his comment, the governor cited how you're not swayed by any party. You clearly got crosswise with the governor a few times over some of his proposals. Do you think this appointment was in part at all a way to kind of get you out of the way in the Senate?
I think the governor, and it's not just the governor, also Republicans on the other side of the aisle, my colleagues, they want a Secretary of State that everyone can trust. I think it would be horrible to have a Secretary of State that is too ideologically to the far left or far right to fill this position. And so I think the governor was thinking about just all Washingtonians on both sides of the aisle. So that's my answer on that one.
And do you plan to run next year in 2022?
Yes, Rachel, I do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Senator, what kind of elections administrating experience do you have?
So I don't have the county auditor type that you typically get in the last two elections, two Secretaries of State. But what I do have is the management leadership experience. I commanded a 750 service members in the COVID response in Western Washington for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. And filling this role is actually a little easier because I have a dedicated staff. Kim Wyman has left a great team to lead. And the Secretary of State's office has really evolved. Now in the information operations age in which we have nation state actors doing cyber attacks against our election systems, we've got foreign actors, terrorist groups, and extremists trying to undermine our election system with disinformation and misinformation. The Secretary of State's office needs to take up that role of being a protector of our election system. And so the governor wanted to pick somebody who is aware of the national security implications of protecting our election system.
And do you plan to keep Lori Augino as elections director if she's sticking around here?
I plan to keep most of the staff. Isn't Lori in a different position, Joe?
It might be. I haven't checked in a little while.
Yeah, because I met the staff and I don't think she was the elections director. If the elections director, I think, has moved on, and the person that was the deputy is now filling that spot.
On the topic of elections administration, I know county auditors are really hoping that the governor appointed someone with a little bit more elections administration experience. So can you, I guess, just address those concerns and talk a bit about how you plan to work with the county auditors moving forward?
Absolutely. One thing I'm going to do is reach out to all the county auditors because this is a partnership. We work together. And so that's what I will be doing, is reaching out to our county auditors, listening to them, seeing what their concerns are as we move forward.
Do you have any?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Melissa.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. I just was jumping in. Sorry. Do you have any hopes for who replaces you, or what the governor should consider, or not the governor? I'm sorry, but it's Snohomish County Council should consider in replacing someone and choosing someone to fill your seat in the state Senate?
Certainly. We have two wonderful House members. We have Representative April Berg and Representative John Lovick. Obviously, there's a process involved in which one of them will step up to the plate. I believe, I think they've worked it out. You'll have to talk to Representative Lovick and Representative Berg, but I believe they've, I think, figured out who is going to try to go for that seat.
Essex, do you have a question?
Yes, Senator, the state of Washington folks here have been very comfortable electing a Republican as Secretary of State in a state that's dominated by Democrats in elected offices. Why should now Republicans especially be comfortable with a Democrat as Secretary of State?
That's a good question, Essex. I think what Washingtonians and Republicans and Democrats want is they want confidence in a Secretary of State that will listen to both of them. As you might know, and many in this, and what I can see here on my screen know, throughout the years, I have reached across the aisle and I built relationships with Republicans. The governor wanted to choose someone who was willing to stand up against his own party. In fact, we even joked about how I bucked him a couple of times because we need an elections manager, elections leader in this state that all people can trust, all Washingtonians can trust. And so I feel confident that I'm in this role, that I will maintain these relationships with Republicans, as I always have, to secure our elections system.
And do you have any ideas, anything you want to work on that would increase voter participation?
Yes, I've been talking to the governor's office, and I would like to reach out to different communities to see if we can do what King County has done with what we call, I guess, a trusted messenger program, where we have folks that are like them, that are reaching out to the community to increase voter turnout. The other thing I want to do is, again, maintain the security of our election system, working with the county auditors. The National Guard has a cyber unit. I'd like to work with them to see if we can test out each county election system. Of course, I'm going to work with the auditors to do that, to ensure the security.
Thank you.
And I'm just going in order of people I see. Jerry, do you got a question?
Yeah, just on the politics, and you're going to run next year. As you know, you've not won a statewide office before. You've been targeted by many organizations in the Democrat Party, the base. So are you anticipating getting a primary opponent from within your party and next year?
Well, Jerry, what's the great thing about America is elections, and I anticipate all kinds of candidates popping out of the woodwork to try to run for this office. But I feel pretty confident that I can send my message to the voters and let them know that I'm the right person for this office.
And I see Austin next. Austin, do you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know how you plan to combat election misinformation. There have been attacks on the trustworthiness of our vote by mail. You know, social media can just take off in seconds. Something gets out there and it's very hard to reel it back in.
Thank you, Austin, for that question. Yes, one of the things I would like to do, one of the ideas I would like to try to push out there is the ability to counter misinformation, disinformation as it happens when it gets close to the election. So, for example, if somebody with a Twitter handle pops up and says, "Hey, I saw ballot stuffing at a Yakima drop box," we can quickly respond and counter that by saying, "Hey, we just talked to the sheriff's department there in Yakima, and no, that is not happening," or refute things as they come up. We need to act quickly on this misinformation that's happening from nation states, from terrorist groups, even from just individuals or just who don't understand that our election system is secure here in the state of Washington, and to refute that as quickly as possible.
Next person I see is, I believe it's Chris Daniels with King TV. Chris, are you there? And do you have a question? Apparently not. Does anybody have any follow-ups? Anything else?
I was having a little technical difficulty during Rachel's first question when we responded. I mean, you saw, maybe you haven't seen yet, but the Republican Party did put out a statement saying that they do feel like this is a crass political move by Inslee to remove you as a political obstacle. Again, I know you answered that earlier. I just didn't hear the response.
Sure.
Why do you think that's not the case, or do you think that's the case?
So I think, Melissa, the best thing to do is to talk about. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. Coming from Caleb, the chair of the Republican, yeah. So, look, I get it. His role and of course the chair of the Democratic Party's role is to, put these differences out there. But I guarantee you, Caleb would be very upset if somebody like a party hack got this position and not someone who has been able to work with Republicans across the aisle. So I want to just put the word out to him that, look, I'm willing to work with you. I'm willing to work with Tina and the Democratic Party. I'm going to work with all Washingtonians. And so I understand that you are concerned, but I'm here to work for everybody.
This is Rachel again. Is there anything specific that you see yourself doing differently from previous secretaries of states, whether it's policies that you'd like to see supported in the legislature, or just administratively as it pertains to elections, or any other area that the Secretary of State office oversees?
Thank you, Rachel. The great thing is Kim Wyman left me with a great office. And being in the military, when you do do a change of command, which is what I look at this as. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That being said, as I mentioned several times, I think we need to be on the alert of cybersecurity of our elections systems, not just the states, but the counties being hacked, and also countering misinformation and disinformation. And so I think what you're going to see in this office is more emphasis on that. Kim did a great job doing that, and I'm going to put more emphasis on that.